As we continue with our service, my scripture reading is taken from Mark, St. Mark, 6th chapter, the 41st through the 44th verse. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, he looked up to heaven and blessed and brake the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before them, and the 2 fishes divided he among them all. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments and of the fish. And that they did eat of the loaves were about 5,000 men. And so is the scripture reading of St. Mark's 6th chapter, 41st through the 44th verse. I say to you again, good morning and blessings. I first questioned why I was given this scripture, but then in meditation, it was explained to me. First of all, I want to bring your focus and your attention to what's happening right now. And as the scripture said, that Jesus took the 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread and fed the multitude of people. We know right now that there is a hunger, there is a lack of nourishment for the babies. Mothers can't find the Similac or the milk product that is needed to feed their babies. And as we know, Mother Nature, life has provided all of life with the ability to feed their youngs. All the animals upon the face of the earth is capable, have the ability to feed their young. And so as I was pondering this in my meditation, asking, what is it? What have we done to our bodies that we are not able to produce that which sustains our young ones, our babies? Why is it that we're looking out to the world for that which is needed to nourish our young, when all the animals of nature is not seeking something outward to nourish their young? When the disciples came to Jesus and said that the multitude, they are hungry and we have no food. And one of the disciples said, shall we go and buy bread? And Jesus said, what have you? 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread. And Jesus said, have them to set down. And when he instructed the disciples to have them to set down by companies upon the grass, setting down also represents a stillness in the mind, or the consciousness. And the disciples gave Jesus the 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread. Now, here's what seems to be a miracle. Jesus took the 2 fishes and the 5 loaves of bread, and scripture states that he looked up to heaven and blessed. And then he broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to feed the people. Now, we have gotten away from a very important principle and truth. And by getting away from this principle and truth, we have started to experience lack. We have started to experience limitation. We've started to experience a shortage of all things. We can now go to the grocery store and find that there are many foods that we can't get right now. We can look out around us and see that everything is being taxed, prices going up, and we are complaining and concerned and worried about not having enough. The disciples said to Jesus, there's a multitude and we only got 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread. Jesus was not concerned about not having enough. Lack and limitation was not in his consciousness. He said, have the people sit down. And he took the 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread. And the most important thing, he blessed them. How many times have you heard it said, what you bless blesses you in return? How many times have you heard it said, what you bless blesses you in return? And here is in the scripture a principle and a truth being demonstrated by the teacher Jesus. Something that has been passed on to us. You know, in the early days when we were home with family, most of you, mother would say, before you have your meal, say your grace. Say your grace. Give thanks for the food that you have on the table. But we've gotten away from saying our grace. We've gotten away from being thankful. We've gotten away from blessing that which we have. And the demonstration of Jesus that he took a little bit, and as he blessed it, it multiplied. And he was able to feed 5,000 with 12 baskets left over. How you gonna feed 5,000 hungry people and then have something left over? Well, what he was demonstrating, that as you bless, it blesses you in return, and there is no limit. That you can't consume all that you're being blessed with. There is no limit to what the universe, the God consciousness, or life will bless you with. But we've got stuck in this mind of ours that if we don't see it in our hands, if we don't feel it in our pockets, if we don't see it in our cupboards, there's a famine. There's a famine going on. And it is in our consciousness. If you think lack, if you think limitation, then that's what you're going to manifest and you demonstrate in your life. You have to stop looking to the world for your good, for your good is right there within you. For those of us that are upon this spiritual path, in the 50 plus years that I've been on this path, I've come to know and to understand that there are a lot of people coming because they want to be blessed with the material things of life. They hunger for the physical and the material things of life. They don't hunger and thirst for righteousness. They don't hunger and thirst for righteousness. They don't come to God, or they don't come seeking God for enlightenment. They come seeking God for entitlement. And there's nothing in the world or of the world that says that you are entitled to anything. The world owes you nothing. And if the world gives you something, then the world is capable of taking it back from you, taking it away. When we come seeking enlightenment, we come to know and to understand the truth and the power that is within us. And as we exercise and demonstrate that power to bring into manifestation that which is for our highest good and for the highest good of all concerned, it cannot be taken away from us. That which God has given us, that which the universal life has given us, cannot be taken away. Why is it that we put all of our dependencies on the world? And then we get to a point where we become concerned about not being able to pay our bills. We worry about whether we're going to have enough to retire. We just worry. And there's no need to worry. When we start to worry and have doubt, the first thing that we must say to ourselves, we are operating outside of the consciousness of God. We are operating outside the consciousness of I am. We are operating outside of the understanding of life. And we must know that doubt and fear, frustration, stands in the way of the good that we seek to manifest. There is no power in all the world that is greater than the power within you. no power in all the world that is greater than the power of I am within you. Now, I want to just touch a little bit on I am because you know that's what I am. I am that I am. And as I've said many times, you have to understand the power of the mind, and you have to know and understand the truth of I am. Everything within our environment, everything that we are a part of and connected to, we have created by the power of I am within these physical bodies. You have a choice as to how you want to live your life. You can say that I am prosperous and successful, or you can say I'm struggling and having a hard time. You can use your perception to see good, or you can use it to see the opposite. It's all your creation. It's all your doing. And so you can't fault or blame God because of whatever the situation or the condition that you're in. Jesus taught, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you're thinking hard times and struggles, that's what it's going to be. If you're thinking positive thoughts, prosperity, and abundance, that's what it's going to be. But you just can't think it in your mind. You have to feel it in your heart. You just can't think it in your mind. You have to also feel it in your heart. And remember, or pay attention to what I just said. Feel it. Feeling is the power within you. Whatever you feel within you is what you're going to demonstrate and manifest in your life. Some folks wake up in the morning, first thing they say, oh, I feel so bad. I feel this way and I feel that way. Well, as long as you entertain those thoughts, that's just the way the body is going to react. Because you are sending a command to your cells and your tissues and your organs. And they're going to respond in kind. We are the masters of this physical body. It's not the master of us. The I am that I am created this. This did not create I am. And so we have to reattune ourselves to the very truth of what we are. I am. If you want to change your conditions and your situations, then change the way you think, change the way you feel, change your perception. If you look out and see all bad and negative things, then that's what's going to be manifesting and demonstrating in your life, creating doubt and fear and frustration and all of these other things that are in opposition to the truth of what you are. You've heard me many times tell the story about my life. And I've also said to many of you, you all don't know what it is to be hungry, to not have been blessed. I made a statement the other day about somebody being born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and I got beat upside the head. But when you don't know what it is to be hungry, when you don't know what it is to be homeless, when you don't know what it is to not have, it's a very painful experience. And as I was watching the babies on television about not having the milk that they needed, as young as these babies are, they don't know. But the parents know that there's not enough to feed their children, having to drive 3 and 4 hours to a store to find some Similac. When I was young, there was no such thing as Similac. There was only 3 types of milk: carnation milk, pet milk, and breast milk. And I remember the times my mother would get a can of carnation milk for my other siblings, and she would water it down to make sure that they had milk. And I'll share this with you all. There was a time when there was not milk in the house for my youngest sister. And she would cry. There were times when my mother was not present. And as my youngest sibling would cry to be fed and there was no milk, I would take off my shirt and put her lips to my chest and let her suck. There was nothing coming out. Other than the love that I had, that I did not want her to suffer, to be hungry. And I assumed that just going through the motions of her sucking was enough to satisfy her. A man, a boy, trying to breastfeed his sibling. When I see and hear people complaining about what they don't have or how hard things are, but never having to experience the pain of hunger, never having to experience what it is to be homeless, never having to experience what it is to not have. And you come upon this spiritual path not seeking enlightenment, but entitlements. You have to understand hard times. If it has never touched your door, then you don't know what it is. Be grateful and thankful for the little bit that you have. And you can take the little bit that you have and bless it. And it will multiply for you. What you bless blesses you in return. That is the universal law. That is God's law. That is not man's law. If you come upon this spiritual path, seeking truth, and enlightenment, then follow the instructions. Go within yourself and be grateful and thankful for what you have and bless all that you have. And do not complain. If you have food on your table, a roof over your head, and if you got 2 nickels in your pocket, you don't have anything to complain about. If you woke up this morning and you have a pain somewhere, you don't have anything to complain about. There's some folks that didn't wake up this morning, not even aware of them having pain. Be grateful and thankful for the life that you have. And if you tune yourself to this life, it will do for you what you can't do for yourself. We come to a point in life where we just have to throw up your hands and say, God, I've done all that I can do. I can't do it anymore. I turn my life over to you. I've done all that I can do. I can't do anymore. I turn my life over to you. After all, it is God that gave us life. And we just took it and we just ran with it. Like we knew what we wanted to do. We knew how to live it. We don't. We mess it up. Because we have not taken the time to understand and to listen to that still small voice within us. As they talk about the lack of what's going on in the world, as they talk about the soaring prices, as they talk about the foods that you cannot get, as they talk about all the changes that are going on and how it is affecting humanity. When you're in tune with the light and the consciousness of life, the outside world has no effect. You don't have to worry about a shortage in your life because life knows no shortages. Life knows no limits. Life is always supplying what it is that we need. But by our distortion of looking out at the world and our perception that something is missing, there's a lack, there's a limitation, it is affecting the very life, the environment in which we live. Follow the teachings and the examples of the master teacher Jesus. What little you have, take it and bless it. And when you're blessing, don't bless from your head, just your mind, but bless from your heart, your mind, and your soul. All three. You got to be firing on all 3 cylinders. All 3 must be in alignment. And then you will see the manifestation and the demonstration of that which you have blessed. As I say to you, as I've always said, may God bless you as he has blessed me, from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. Namaste.